Hello, everyone. My name's Cash Miller. I'm the host of Emerging Brands Franchises on the Rise. I'm also the CEO of Titan Media Works. We do podcast production. I've got with me today Dan Collins. He's with Stretch Zone. This is a really interesting concept. I mean, there are so many health related concepts out there that are great. Really great business opportunities, but this one is very unique. And I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. You're really going to want to learn about this one and tune in for the whole thing. Dan, hey, it's great to have you on. Tell us about Stretch Zone. Give us the backstory. Explain the concept first.
Sure.
Then go how. Then tell us how this came about.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thanks for having me on, Cash. I appreciate it. So Stretch Zone, we are practitioner-assisted stretching. So I know it sounds strange, but you basically come into our location. We have 5 or 6 tables in there, and you lay on the table. We use our patented strapping system to secure you to the table. And then our trained stretch practitioners come on and stretch you. And our goal is you relax. That's the purpose of the strapping system. You completely relax, and then we stretch those relaxed muscles. And that's really what's changing people's lives. Super simple concept. The way it started is actually our founder, Jordan Gold, when he was growing up, his best friend was his grandfather, his pop. He also went to school for exercise science and biology, graduated, became a personal trainer in some of the upscale clubs down in Miami. We're in South Florida. And he came out and trained a lot of people, but he was always known for his stretching. He has a philosophy where there's 4 parts of fitness. And in this order, you need flexibility, then stability, then strength, then power, which makes total sense because if you can't move in all planes and ranges of motion, then it doesn't make sense to strengthen it if you're limited in your mobility. So Jordan, when his grandfather got older, his grandfather didn't really take care of himself, became bedridden, and Jordan thought he only had a couple of months left with him. So because it was his best friend, he wanted to spend as much time with him as possible. And then while he was over at his house, he thought, what can I do to make him more comfortable? So he started trying to stretch him so he can increase his circulation and blood flow and just basically make him more flexible so his grandmother could force dress him when people were coming over. Jordan started stretching him, but then he was limited because he's laying on the bed. He couldn't really stretch him downwards. So he brought in a portable massage table and got his grandfather up on that. But then when Jordan tried to stretch him there, his grandfather was afraid of falling off the table. So he tried securing him with straps and belts. And that's what the evolution of our patented strapping system. So when his grandfather was able to calm down, relax, and then completely, give up to Jordan, and Jordan would stretch him, Jordan stretched his muscles for an hour a day over the course of a year and 6 weeks. And he went from being bedridden and gray to walking with a walker, to playing cards with his buddies at the card room, to going out to dinner with his friends and walking with a tripod, to walking with a cane, to dancing at his niece's wedding. And when that happened, everyone stood up and applauded because they, of course, thought the next time they were going to see him was at the funeral. And it hit Jordan like a lightning bolt. He said, that's it. Everyone's grandparents deserve this. I want to make a place where people could bring their grandparents and get stretched. And he studied everything he could do for the next 2 years to become the best stretcher in the world. At the end of those 2 years, he was stretching the NFL MVP at the time, who was Marshall Faulk. The NBA, LA Clippers had his license. The NFL team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, he was stretching world leaders like Mikhail Gorbachev, Janet Jackson, Lenny Kravitz, Aerosmith, US PGA Tour champ, US Tennis Open champ, middle heavyweight boxing champ of the world. I mean, it just took off. So what was happening is people, especially NFL players, were handing his name around on a napkin with a phone number, and Jordan was getting more and more of these exclusive clients. However, then what was happening is, really billionaires were hiring him to go away for a week with them on a private jet. And he was getting further and further away from his goal of getting a place where people can get their grandparents stretched. So I must say, better man than I fired all of his rich clients. Spent 2 years putting together all the systems and procedures and protocols to do this and make this happen. 2015, he opened the first Stretch Zone location. 2017, he and our CEO and president, Tony, got together and then started franchising once they had all the systems in place. And that was our first location, 2017. And as of Monday this week, we opened store number 332 in the United States.
Wow.
And we've yet to ever have one close. I mean, I'm not about to break that streak.
Yeah, well, that speaks to the business model. And I'll tell you what, I mean, we've heard plenty of health things, from it could be, pills, like you go to, those types of, stores. You've got chiropractors, of course. I've
Sure.
never heard of any business that focused on something as simple as stretching. And I totally like, yeah, I didn't realize, because that story is like, how effective over such a period of time. Because, yeah, as we get older and stuff, the mobility is kind of gone. And, I know every morning, like I do certain stretches and stuff because I'm flexibility. I keep thinking my neck and you end up, leaning
Sure.
forward and stuff. So I will start doing like above my, head stretches and stuff.
Of course.
It's amazing though that the health benefit is really there, and you guys have, turned that into a business concept. Are there any other businesses that you guys have seen that really have focused on this? I mean, there's got to be somebody else that's figured this out.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, it's funny because Jordan is the originator of this. I mean, there's other people that are out there trying to
Copy.
copy us, but
Yeah.
Jordan started it. And the thing is, it seems so simple.
Hmm.
Why didn't I think of this? And then
It
it's funny,
does. Yeah.
because, I'm vice president of franchise development. I get a lot of people asking me, about franchise information. And a bunch of people, when I contact them, they're like, I thought of this. And why didn't I think of this before? Why didn't someone else
Yeah.
think of this? Well, Jordan thought of it and then put it into business.
Right.
It is very simple. The thing that makes it so popular and so successful, a couple reasons. Number one, everyone understands it. You're
Yeah.
supposed to stretch. I've been working out for 50 some years and I know I'm supposed to stretch.
Yeah. Right.
And yet I never do it. And look where I work. I work here.
Yeah.
So you think I would do it. But what do I do? Luckily for me, the training center is on the other side of the wall behind me. So I
Ah.
get to go back there and get stretched. So that's very nice. The
Okay.
other thing is the reason that this concept took off is because, when I was younger, once you hit 60 years old, you hit the recliner or you hit the rocking chair and started knitting.
Yeah.
Now people don't do that. I mean, that's not a thing
Started
anymore.
knitting. Well, I don't think I'll
Right.
take up knitting, but okay.
Right. Well, now what people do, they spent their lives accumulating their wealth. Now they want to enjoy their life and spend it. So they want to be
Yeah.
healthy enough to do that. And when they realize that stretching is like the basics, this is complementary to every one of those other fitness things that you talked about. Any other kind of concept, we're beneficial to that. We're really big with like Orange Theory, CrossFit, those kind of
Sure.
athletes. Also,
Oh
mud
yeah.
runners, triathletes, marathoners. It's really beneficial to that. But really, the meat of our clientele, everyone who's 45 and older, who, like me, sits in a chair too much every day. And you really kind of lose that flexibility. I mean, we have people in their 50s,
Yeah. You just
unfortunately. They come in, they haven't tied their own shoes for 5 years
yeah.
because they can't reach their feet. And they
Yeah.
come in, we sell 3-month programs of stretching. And then
Okay.
obviously most of the people sign back up. But during those 3 months, the first 2 months they're working. It's kind of like rehab almost, even though we don't do anything medical. We don't treat or diagnose anything. We just help people live their lives better. But because we're kind of moving them around and extending their flexibility, now after the first 2 months, now they come in with their nice white sneakers, come on tied, big smile on their face, and wait for us to notice it. It's really cool.
Yeah, they say there are a ton of health benefits, and I think it's just one of those things. Yeah, like you mentioned, as we get older, we kind of slow down, but we take it for granted. We don't. It doesn't have to be that way,
Absolutely not.
But, yeah, but we have to actually take the time, invest in ourselves, and every time we think of doing that, right? We think of, oh, I've got to go to the gym or something. No, this is like different. This is all about maintaining the flexibility, regardless of your actual, I guess, physical condition. There
And
are,
fitness level, right?
yeah, exactly. Your fitness level. This is something that can be done no matter what, whoever you are. And you're going to maintain a lot more mobility and stuff. So there's a huge health benefit to it because, I think as we get older, like the perception is you're getting older, you're going to slow down. That doesn't have
You
to be the
have to
case.
slow down, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
So,
true at all. Nope. In
no.
fact, like I said, most of our people are older, 45 and older. And I think the only reason we don't have even more younger clients is because, when you're younger and you get an injury or you lose a little bit of mobility, first of all, you
Hmm.
jump back faster. Secondly,
Yeah.
you rub a little dirt on it because you're tough. Now that I'm
Yeah.
old, I wish I didn't rub so much dirt. I wish I would have
Yeah.
taken care of myself by this.
Right.
But yeah, we're huge with golfers, tennis
Mhm.
players. Pickleball is unbelievable for us.
Oh, I believe it, yeah.
Then senior citizens, I mean, they want to keep
Well
doing whatever they can do as long as possible.
well, here's the thing, because of the story with his grandfather and stuff. What you pointed out, though, is regardless of age and physical condition, it can be reversed essentially. If
Absolutely.
it can take time. It's not something that's gonna be done in a few weeks, but it can go the other way. You can restore that mobility if you're doing if you take the time, you invest in getting the actual help you need to do the proper
Sure.
stretches and stuff. And
Yep.
that's why I like it as a business concept, because you've got all these age groups, you can hit about anybody, but there is no like point of no return for someone, is what you guys are proving.
Exactly right. Well, especially when our goal is to them, we want them to lay on the table, get secured by the straps, and completely relax. They literally have to do nothing but tell us when they feel the stretch. We're really
Hmm.
big on feedback between the practitioner and the client. So we want to know they're going to tell us when they feel like it's a good deep stretch.
Yeah.
So they're in complete control of it, but also they don't have to lift a finger to do this. Our practitioners want them to relax and they lift and move all their limbs.
Right.
If you feel like I can't even get out of the chair, you can get up on the table and let us do what we do. Little by little, you're going to get better.
Yeah.
The goal for us is we want you to either regain what you couldn't do, what you can't used to be able to
Yeah.
do, and can't do any longer, or hang on to what you can do now as long
Yeah.
as possible and enjoy your life.
Yeah, I think that's great. So, but now let's talk about it as a business concept, okay?
Sure.
And you guys are like really thorough on your franchise site and everything. So,
Yep.
yeah, I like to start in this case. Let's build it from the ground up. So let's talk investment. Like
Sure.
what kind of numbers, what kind of money is required, especially like franchise fee to the build out, because this is a lower, it's not as money intensive as some other franchise concepts are out there.
Right.
I think it's probably a little easier to get going and stuff. So we'll go into the training part, but let's start with franchise fees, build out costs, and things like that to get off the
Sure.
ground.
Sure. I've been in franchising my entire career, and this is the lowest initial investment I've ever been involved with. So our franchise fee is $59,500 per location, and then our initial investment, the range is from $113,000 up to $226,000. That includes the franchise fee. Now I realize that's a big range. What that
Yeah.
is, it's the least and the most that anyone spent last year to do this.
Okay.
So typically, you're going to be somewhere in the middle of that range.
Yeah,
Um,
what is the range like, what's the usually like the biggest variable? I assume it's probably like a build out cost depending on the location, things like that, but would that be
right.
accurate, or is it something
Um,
else that's kinda
well,
driven the range?
Yeah, some people have done a little bit larger build out. Our goal is to
Okay,
keep your overhead as low as possible once you're open. So the way we do that, we build locations that are large enough to fit 5 of our tables, and then
okay,
have the ability to add a sixth table as your volume increases where you need that sixth table. So for
okay,
those size spaces, typically we're ranging from 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, but usually it's in that 12 to 1,400 sweet spot. But we've had
okay,
people do 1,800, 2,000. We don't really
okay,
like to do that. Just again, because I like to keep your rent low. I want to make your break even as low as possible to make it happen as quickly as possible.
good, okay. So if we're looking for that, then what makes the ideal space,
Sure.
for this? So, 'cause most franchises, they will help with site selection,
Yep.
so I assume you do that to some, degree. What makes the good space for you?
Bless.
Excuse me. What makes the space that would be perfect for a franchisee?
Certainly. Well, I'll tell you the way we find what area would hold a successful studio first is, of course, we know who our best clients are. They come in, they pay us, they give us all their information. Well, then we subscribe to a really robust real estate software that interfaces with our software. It shows us
Okay.
who the top 10 profiles are because it slices everyone in the country into one of 72 different
Oh,
profiles. So we take those 10 profiles that would make a successful studio and then lay that out in the area that you're interested in. And it shows us where those profiles live and exactly the number. We look
okay.
for anywhere from 3 to 5,000 of those profiles because we only need a few hundred regular clients coming in, even at the lowest per stretch price, to
Yeah.
have a wildly successful studio. So now that I know where they live, I need to know where they're going 3 or 4 times a week. I want to make it easy to be part of my routine. I want to make it easy for them to
Yeah,
be common for
I
us.
like that.
Well,
Okay.
then what we do is, we figured out where our profiles go with that frequency, and it's no shocker. They go to the gym and the grocery store with that frequency.
Hmm.
So we go into a plaza with a gym and a grocery store. Ideal for us, Orange Theory, F45, CrossFit. The reason
Right.
I like that as opposed to the big box gyms, because of the frequency. Those people go 6 days a week.
Yeah.
They're serious. They're serious about health,
I
and it's their hobby as well.
Right. Yeah, I've known some Orange Theory people, and boy, they do get really serious about it. And I've known some people that even if you go to other cities, they will find the Orange Theory
Oh
location,
yeah,
to be able to do, to go there. So that makes sense. Yeah, rather than go because the big box are about price, and you want some people with discretionary income
right.
because Orange Theory and other similar gyms are not as cheap. So you want to be able to do that because you're fitting into that budget, with them.
Exactly. Yeah, we're
Okay.
always dealing with the top half of the average household income wherever we go. So, we like to be just by a regular good grocery store. It doesn't have to be Whole Foods and Fresh Market and all that. Those are fantastic, of course, but it just has to be a good regular grocery store because we like that foot traffic of those clients.
Yeah,
And
totally.
they come in, they get stretched. Another great thing is we don't get you sweaty. You don't have to take a shower after you get stretched. You can come in
Yeah.
on your lunch hour, but they can come in and then go get stretched and then go to do CrossFit. And now you're squatting deeper and easier. Or you could just go get your groceries and you're not all gross and sweaty.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. Okay, so we know where we want to be located. What are you typically looking for as far as client numbers? Because we talked, okay, you got 5 or 6 tables,
Right.
So I'll start here. How many people does it typically take to man a store,
Oh,
individual location?
excellent question. So the first two people you're going to hire are your manager and your assistant manager. And
Okay.
really, there's not a whole lot to manage here because it's so simple. They're 80% of
Yeah.
the time they're spent doing demo stretches, which is our sales opportunity.
Gotcha.
So, we give away that first stretch for free because we want people to experience it and see how it can change their life. And you can
Okay.
literally feel it after that
Yeah.
first stretch.
Oh, I
I
bet.
mean,
Yeah.
we put people through that demo stretch and they come up and we ask them how they feel. Feels like I'm floating. I feel taller, lighter, younger. It's fantastic. I mean, it really is nice to be involved with something that helps people and that people love so much. That's we open 2 or 3 of these every week, and I
Yeah.
mean the things are just going gangbusters. It's really awesome.
Okay.
Um, but typically it's after the first 2 people are trained, and they're the only 2 people you have to send down here to Fort Lauderdale to our training center. After
Gotcha.
that, typically you're going to have maybe 6 to maximum 8 employees, and it's a mix
Okay.
of full time and part time after that. And they actually get trained on site at your location during opening
Okay.
week.
Okay, so 8 is a max. What are the typical operating hours of a store?
Usually we start out from 9 to 7, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. But then after a while, you're going to want to basically what people do is they buy a package of stretch credits. It's a 3-month plan. We
Okay.
sell either 1, 2, or 3 stretches per week for those 12 weeks.
Gotcha.
But then you're going to want to be open when people need to redeem those credits because you
Yeah.
redeem those credits, then they buy more credits.
Okay. Yeah.
So sometimes you expand to, now I open at 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning even. We have some
Yeah.
studios around the country that, they open 6 a.m. and close 9 p.m. And they're full tables, 2 stretches an hour for every table they have for every hour they're open.
Well, especially if you're pairing up next to any gyms, people want to get their morning workout. They might come in, do the stretch actually there. So they maybe
That's
use their
perfect.
credits and then they go to the gym right
Right.
afterwards,
You only park
because now they're
once.
all loose. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So that makes sense. That's why you're kind of pairing up where it makes
Sure.
sense, with those, where they're located. Okay. So to get to like how many typically, how many clients are you usually working with, or what is the number you're shooting for at least, that an individual location should have so that they're making money?
Right. Well, I'll tell you, obviously, I'm bound by Federal Trade Commission guidelines with the
Yeah, yeah.
FTD, so I'm only allowed to say what's inside of my documents.
Say
Um,
what's in there.
so, so I can't. If I gave you that number, then with all the other information that I have in my FDD, that would be me providing a financial performance representation. So unfortunately, I can't do that. What I can tell you is the reason that we've have 332 open and we've never closed one is because the goal is to keep your overhead as low as possible. And
Yes.
then you can, with the numbers in the FDD, you can figure out what your breakout is. Then once you put
Okay.
your pro forma together and figure, okay, well, if I operate at 50% capacity, then this would be my break even. And then you
Okay.
can, that's where you can do your own homework. And actually, I require my franchisees to do that kind of homework. In fact, I have franchisees that call me up and just tell me, all right, I'm ready to buy 5 of them because they heard about it from one of their friends. Well, I need you to go out and get stretched. I need you to go through my due diligence process, reach out to me
Yeah,
on the website, come through our
totally.
forum, and we'll have intro calls and do everything we need to do to make sure we'll
Okay.
obviously give you our franchise development
Yeah.
document.
So let's talk sales though, because that is on your website.
Yeah, sure.
So let's talk sales. So what are some of the best franchisees able to do? Like what is possible, and then I noticed on there, you have some lower performing stores and
Yeah,
stuff,
absolutely.
just what's the difference between, like,
Excellent question.
that you've seen?
Sure. So, number one, I put as much information as I can on the website because I want everyone to get their questions answered. And I know they don't want to talk to me. They want to find out things on their own first and then see if they want to
Hmm.
talk to me. By
Yeah.
the way, I'm the least pressure guy you'll ever meet, so feel free to call me. But besides that, sales numbers for last year are on the website. So that our average sales were 434,000, but our top performers ranged, I think it's 520,000 up to 903,000. But then, like you mentioned, we absolutely have bottom performers. I mean, mathematically, it has to happen.
Yeah.
However, I think a portion of the people that are underperforming expected this to be mailbox money. I mean, when I tell people, because I mean,
It's
it's
still a
out
business.
there, right? It's out there on all kinds of websites, and people are trying to sell you absentee or semi-absentee business
Hmm.
models. I don't like that term at all. I don't like the word absentee because if I told you to put a stack of hundreds on a table and then check it once a week, how many are going to be left? First time you check it, none.
Yeah.
So this is not mailbox money. I'm not saying you have to come in and learn how to stretch, although probably 10% of our franchisees are certified to stretch.
Okay.
I'm not saying you even have to go into your studios that much because we have software that allows you to monitor everything wherever you have
Beautiful.
Wi-Fi. It's amazing. But what I want you to do is number one, I want you to hire a good general manager. That's the key to
Yes.
having a good, successful studio. Then, and by the way, we have software that helps you find and hire all of your employees. We've built templates of this is a generic successful manager. And then we also do
Yeah.
predictive index testing. So we make sure we know what what their personality is, so we know how to manage those people.
Yeah. Well, no, I love that because that's really the support. And like I said, it's a fairly straightforward concept, but it's always going to be the people that make it successful. You
100%.
can have a business as easy as you get, but the people can still mess it up. So having with over 300 franchises,
Sure.
what kind of people you got to hire to make these things work and be successful. So you're providing all of that support. I love it. You always want to be doing that. And it sounds like, I say, if you get a successful GM, so, I assume some of your franchises have done so well. I mean, is owning multiple units a typical thing too within the, your franchise ecosystem?
Yeah, for us, 93% of our franchisees are multi-unit owners. So
Wow. That's
it's rare that
great.
somebody comes in to buy one location. Back in the day, they used to buy one, and then as soon as they open, they call back and buy 5 more. Now they come in because they heard about it either at the country club or from their golf buddies or from their wealth manager. They come in and buy 3, 5, 8 at a time. And
Three.
another
Here, I want to open 8 locations. I know, like a
right.
lot of they're not going to open them all at the same time, but they're
Yeah,
committing
exactly. We have
to
a
quite a few.
development schedule that we put
Yeah,
alongside
sure.
that. But yeah, most of the people, or one thing that I'm proud of actually, and this isn't me, this is my team, the operations team, all the support teams. Probably a third to a half of the new studios that I award every month are to our existing franchisees calling back to
Mm.
buy more.
That's just proof in the system because
Exactly.
I think that's important with any franchise. It's proof in it's an understanding or a belief that the concept works, the business works, and the best. I think I don't know. best advertising for you as a franchise brand is when your franchisees are signing up and saying, "I want another unit." That means I'm making
Exactly.
money. I believe in what you're doing, and I believe in the management team. And like I
Right.
say, if you buy into a franchise, it is so important that the management team in place, the people, the franchisor is well run, because that's what get people to buy multiple units and also bring on new franchisees, because you're building out, like say, an ecosystem, and you're going to have, you've got a very diverse group of entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
but the people buy franchises because they're buying into systems that they can believe in. That's what you guys seem to be doing.
Exactly right. I mean, it's very simple. It's a very simple concept. We do, it could be very complex because, of course, of our training, the thorough training and the
Mhm.
protocols and all that. Our people have to go through 40 hours of hands on training before we allow them to touch a client, and they have to pass. You can't just show up and watch. So,
So you got to
for
go
that
do it.
part, yeah, that
Yeah.
part is intense. One of my favorite times of the week, every Monday, we have 24 new people in training on the other side of the wall behind me. So I go and introduce myself because I walk through there all the time.
Mhm.
But then I like to listen to them introduce themselves because
Yeah.
we're authorized by the Certification Board of Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork.
Oh yeah.
We don't need them to have any kind of certificate or any kind of
Mhm.
specific background. As long as they can pass our training, then they get to stretch people. And the important part about that, it sounds cool, but the important part is our insurance accepts that certification. That's
Yeah.
why our insurance is relatively really low.
Okay.
That allows us to hire anybody who could pass our training. But most of the people that work for us, almost all of them, 4-year college graduate. They have a degree in some kind of health and sciences field. A
Mm.
lot of them, personal trainers, physical therapists, massage
Yeah.
therapists, huge pool of people for us. And probably 25% of our employees, kinesiologists and kinesiology students. They're
Great.
fantastic.
So
But then we get a lot of moms that like to work out, but now that they have the kids, they send the kids to school, come work for us for 4 hours, do 8 stretches, and then go pick up the kids at the pickup line. It's a great part-time job.
so can I ask this? How much does it actually cost to do the stretching? Like if I'm a client,
If
what
you're a
if I show
client,
up at the store, yeah, what's it going to cost me?
sure. Well, typically we sell 1, 2, or 3 stretches per week for a 12-week package. So the more frequently you get stretched, the bigger package of stretches, the less
Sure.
expensive it is per stretch. So if you
Okay.
come in once a week, typically it's $55 per stretch.
Okay.
Twice a week, $45 per stretch. 3 times a week, $40 per stretch.
Oh,
And they're
that's
a
not
half
bad.
hour stretch.
Yeah, that's it. That's reasonable. And yeah, like I say, you've got a half an hour that like I say, I think from a standpoint of the things we do kind of medically related, it's less expensive to go to a chiropractor. And if you're doing the stretches right and everything, you probably don't need the chiropractor. So,
Well, I'll tell you, actually, we're very complimentary to chiropractics. In
oh, yeah.
fact, chiropractors tell us that if our people get stretched, they hold their adjustments longer. And
Mm,
this isn't just anecdotal
that's
stuff. I have
interesting.
15 chiropractors that are franchisees now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So now you have the chiropractic community also believes in this too. So, I mean, like,
Yep. Actually, the president of the Florida Chiropractic Association is one of my multi-unit franchisees.
oh, that like I say, I mean, there's just so many health benefits to this. I love the concept. It's not too high on the investment. It's thoroughly trained, but it's not. You're going to walk people through the system. It's not rocket science. It's a matter of, this is how it's done properly. And we need you to actually know how to do it, which is great because a lot of things are always, hey, observe and now you know. And I think, like say, even if you're going to hire a general manager, put them in place and everything, you know, that general manager one day could, go on to something new and you might have to step in. So if you're certified, I think, and I know what you mentioned about semi absentee, but this is one that, you don't necessarily have to be involved in every day, but the more you know, the better it's going to operate,
Sure.
obviously. The more hands on you are with any business.
Right.
Um,
Well, I'll tell you, our franchisee training, we actually send them through a week of training. The first 3 days are the first 3 days of management training. So they know how to
Good.
use all the software, operate the systems,
Yeah.
and then they know what our demo stretch is supposed to look like and sound like.
Great.
So now they have that basis of information. Then the last 2 days of training, that's franchise specific. This is how you run this business. This is how you make it as
Mm.
profitable as you can be.
Cool. I have one last question. When you're opening a new store, what do you do to help get it off the ground?
Oh, excellent
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Well, the day you become a franchisee, we assign you a store opening specialist, and we
Okay.
expect you to start submitting sites because I want to make this happen quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we average anywhere from 90 to 120 days from the time you sign your documents
Oh,
and pay to the time you get one open. But that
great.
store opening specialist, they've opened 332 of these. They're pretty good. We have a good system. We have an
Yeah.
86 item checklist that we walk you through, and you're responsible for some of the items and we're responsible for the rest. But we're walking you through that as quickly as you can to get you up and open as quickly as possible. And of course, the finding a real estate location. We have two different companies. If you don't have a local person that you like and
Mm,
trust, we can refer them to you. I've worked with them so they understand exactly what we're looking for. So I
yeah.
didn't want you to have to be a real estate expert if you're not. So
Yeah. No kidding.
now you need that kind of support. So you come on, you work with those people. Usually within a week of being introduced, they have 5 different spots that meet all of our criteria that they'll show you. So you can go
Mhm.
start looking a week after you're a franchisee. And then as soon as you find a space, our store openers design your store in 3D on your computer for you with your input.
Mm,
After that, as soon as you say, yeah, that looks great, it stimulates an equipment order form. This is all your equipment. You order your equipment. First thing that happens, your flooring shows up. You peel and stick carpet and tile. It gets put down in one day with a heated roller. Then, right after that, all of your equipment shows up in one delivery on 2 pallets. I've
mm.
had franchisees open 3 days after they got their equipment delivery.
Sheesh. Yeah, and then from a marketing standpoint, so you build buzz, and get those first clients, signed up. I know like some fitness ones will say, "Hey, we got this new store opening, pre-sign up specials, things like
Right.
that." Is there anything special you do so they have, when that the doors open, there's already clients that are on the roster?
Absolutely. We have a really robust marketing team in house here. And then also we have external marketing partners that are on our team. But we do digital marketing for the majority of our client capture. And we start that probably 3 weeks before you're ready to open. And
Okay.
then the week before you're ready to open, your managers are calling up and scheduling themselves for demo stretch after demo stretch with those clients from the leads. And then opening day, we already have a full roster of people that we're stretching. And then,
Nice.
a good portion of the people that come in for that free stretch sign up for it. Because, like I said, you feel the difference after the first stretch. You just
Yeah.
told me you feel like you're floating and you feel younger. Who
Yeah.
doesn't
So
want
you've
that?
got that part down to a science. And
Yeah,
then from there it's the business owner, doing those demo stretches. They take it from there, but you'll end up with clients signed up, you know, let's say day one basically.
exactly. We literally day one. The thing is, we train you on the script of exactly what to say while you're doing that demo stretch, exactly word for word what to say, for the pricing
Hmm.
presentation. All you have to do is stick to the script, give that good stretch. Everyone wants to sign up. We don't hire salespeople, honestly. We
Yeah.
hire people that can do the stretching, that can follow the script, that are personable, and then that's it. We just let the people decide what fits into their budget.
Yeah. Well, hey, this has been great. I love your concept. I think this is a really good one for people to, check out because the cost of investment's not so high, but it's got a really steady return, it sounds like, because you haven't ever closed a store, like so
Yep.
and you've got a growing ecosystem, but you've also got a huge number of franchisees that are multi-unit. And when you
Yep.
have that, let's say there's a belief there, they know they're making money on it. They know it works, and they have confidence in the management team that is helping make it happen, that is running the whole,
Sure.
the franchisor knows what they're doing, and you guys seem to really have it down. How would people, Dan, how would they get a hold of you to inquire about owning a franchise of their own?
Sure. The best way is to go to stretchzone.com and just click on the franchise tab, fill in that form, and that comes out to my team, and then we'll reach right out to you. If you want to, you just put in the comments that you want to talk to Dan. That's fine. I'll know where you came from, and if you want to hit me up on LinkedIn, that's great too.
Yeah, and it's also like I say, there's franchise dot stretch zone, which is where you'll end up. There are a number of figures on there. I highly suggest you check them out because they're very informative.
Yep.
And you can see what the opportunity is here. Dan, it's been great having you on. I appreciate you being here. Keep doing the good work because you're doing something. I love health related stuff, and you've got one that doesn't involve any pills in the body or anything like
Oh,
that. So, that
totally
is
not.
great. Um,
It's been my
my name,
pleasure. I appreciate it.
yeah, my name's Cash Miller. I'm the host of Emerging Brands Franchises on the Rise. I'm also the CEO of Titan Media Works. We do podcast production. If you're looking for a health related franchise, this is one you really should check out. There are a ton of benefits. It's a well run group. And that's what you want. If you're going into business, you want proven concepts. This one is proven and it is growing fast. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode.